We're connecting the log to the ascender with this Ultratech. Ultratech has a core of a class 2 fibre. I think it's Technora, might be wrong, but anyway it's very static, so we want to make sure there's a big shock load to make the ascender rip the rope. Obviously it wouldn't be something used in a well-designed system, but for the purpose of the test, that's what we're going to use today. So the clamp that we'll use today will be this Kong double ascender with very cool glow-in-the-dark handles. But what we're looking at is this feature. The teeth on the cam. It's common knowledge that these rip ropes, and in some cases that's a good thing, in some cases it's a bad thing. And what we want to try and look at today is the difference between the common ropes that an arborist would use, so a true Kern mantle, like an 1891 static, like the Sedelrid power static, which these go together very nicely, to a very common double braid. Double braid has a 50-50% strength core and cover ratio, and then I think most interestingly a 16 strand. As I've learned it, that an ascender should never ever be used on the 16 strand, because in a fall arrest scenario it's designed to rip the cover, or it will rip the cover, and with the cover holding close to 100% of the strength, with that ripped, the climber is in a very bad situation. But the cover is much thicker on the 16 strand, and like take this Arbormaster for example, each of the bunch of strands has got a plastic strand, so a completely different type of cover setup to one that will rip very easily. So that's something that I'm going to be looking very closely at. Yeah, the rope choice, we've picked out quite a wide variety. Some, like the power static, is very well used. That's been used with a unisender for about 3 years, quite heavily. There's a lot of fluffing on the cover. It's probably quite dirty inside. It's very stiff now. So this Beal is pretty much a new rope. It's just a little bit dirty. It's been used a couple of times. It was used for a kid's speed line, and it really hasn't seen much use at all. Fly, which is an interesting Kern mantle. It's got a much thicker cover. It'd be interesting to see how that performs. That's had medium use, let's say. It's still okay to use that one. We've got, with the double braid, we've got a brand new Vortex. We've got a Poison Ivy with medium use, a little bit of fluffing on the cover, probably a little bit dirty inside as well. A very well used Tachyon that I no longer use. It's been like the power static, which was used with the unisender for a long time. Minor fluffing, but just very well worn in cover. It's probably very dirty inside as well. And then the kind of black sheep of this group, we've got an 8mm. It's like a sailing braid, an English braid, EB braid, or whatever you call it. Just wondering how the 8mm performs next to the slightly larger 11, 12mm arborist ropes. and that 8mm has a much softer cover as well. And then with the 16 strands, we've got a brand new Arbormaster. Like I say, it's got that plastic in each section of the bunch of strands. We've got an incredibly overused, overloaded safety blue rope that's been used in a rigging operation, and it's completely knackered. An old but not very used XTC, and then Donaghy's Spark, which kind of slightly different to the first three. It has much less filament in the core, so it's kind of much lighter and thinner feeling rope, and I think slightly more static. Yeah, another thing we have to remember obviously is that each rope has a different amount of absorption. You know, even if on paper it passes the same 1891 test, you know, it'll perform quite differently at different lengths. We're going to be dropping it with about 1 meter or 2 meters maximum above the clamp, so really not very much shock absorption there, and each one will be set up as identically as we can. For those that don't know or are interested, just wanted to show you a couple of rope samples. This is a double braid, has a braided core and then a braided cover, double, 2 ropes. It's a 50-50% strength ratio. This is a 16 strand. It has a bunch of filaments in the core which are there to, you know, give the rope a round or as much a round shape as possible, with a very thick hard wearing cover. Very good, well designed arborist rope, but the strength is pretty much there just in the cover. This is, you know, it looks quite similar, has filaments in the core. This is a static rope. It doesn't actually feel very static when you're climbing on it, but that's what it's called. It has filaments that, these have all of the strength, that retains close to 100%, where the cover is there to protect the strength and you know, act as like a shock absorber in that fall arrest situation. So that's a static rope. Okay.
切れてますね。
いいですか？
切れた。
うわ
いいですか。はい。
おお、取ってないぜ。
切れましたね。やっぱおお、滑った滑った。
Ah, the knot.
Slipped off.
The knot came off, didn't it?
Oh, did it break?
Yeah.
Also that broke.
Or did it break?
あれが切れたもんでウルトラセットが切れたんじゃないの？
Ah, it's the knot.
How to check the knot? あそこ切れたの？ロープを切れたの？そんなことないよ。そうじゃないよ。残ってる。切れてるじゃん。そこも。詰めたくらいの方で。切れてないわ。あ、切れてないんだ。